Jamie, the liberal activist group ACORN has organized voting drives across the country, but some critics now saying the organization's election activities not above board. The Consumer Rights League slams ACORN for what they say is its voter registration fraud. And it also, ACORN was included in the bailout bill, but has now been taken out. One of the chief critics is James Terry. He's the chief advocate for the Consumer Rights League and joins us now. James, what's wrong with ACORN?
Well, ACORN, unfortunately, is a massive organization that has a decades-long history of corruption, fraud, voter fraud. I mean, just this year alone, you've seen their activities spawn investigations in almost a dozen states, at times involving tens of thousands of registrations in that same state.
Yeah, why did they, yeah, but the ACORN says it's not them. It's the people who work for them. We had the New Mexico Secretary of State on earlier this morning as part of our voter fraud series, and they always say, look, it's the workers, that the ACORN itself as an organization abides by the law. What's your reaction?
Well, you know, that might be an acceptable excuse if, you know, if this were the first year this happened. But the fact of the matter is they have a history going back decades of this. In 2007, you saw people indicted and people have gone to jail, 2000, all the way back for 10 years. And so, you know, after 5 election cycles in 10 years, that's not an accident. That's systemic fraud, and that's a pattern. All
right, we have got to break for a word from our sponsors just for a second. So we're going to hold you over after the break. And I'm going to ask you after the commercials about Barack Obama and his connection to ACORN. So we'll get that in just a moment. More on the voter fraud investigation series here at the Fox News Channel in 2 minutes. Back with James Terry of the Consumer Rights League, who testified about ACORN on Capitol Hill. James, we hear a lot about Barack Obama and ACORN. What's the connection?
You know, ACORN and Obama have a relationship going back several years. Obama has touted his, you know, community organizing credentials, but the relationship is much more recent than that as well. Back as recently as the primary, Obama actually hired an affiliate of ACORN's to do Get Out the Vote. Initially, it was reported as Advance and other work, but it was changed in the filings to reflect that it was for Get Out the Vote and registration.
Well, you're being very delicate now. In other words, they paid $800,000. The Obama campaign. They said it was one thing to the FEC, and then they changed it.
Oh, absolutely. They change their filing. You know, and people file, change their filings all the time. But I think what's really, and I'm no election law attorney here, but what I find very difficult to understand is how Obama hires ACORN, and ACORN is able to go out and spend millions of dollars on voter registrations and have those activities be considered independent. That seems to me there's a whole lot of coordination going on there.
Please clarify that for me, because ACORN, and when I've talked to the officials, and I have, they say they are nonpartisan. Yet it's PAC. It has endorsed Obama. So how can they be nonpartisan yet a part of them endorse Obama?
Well, I mean, they can claim to be nonpartisan, but I think their activities certainly argue otherwise. And it's part of the structure that they have of these multiple organizations that they juggle blame and they juggle money back and forth. And that's quite frankly how they're funneling government taxpayers' money into these operations to fund these fraudulent activities.
All right, well, I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about ACORN in the coming weeks and months as we lead up to the election. A lot of controversy and many investigations ongoing. Thanks very much. And by the way, folks, if you have any information about voter fraud, you can email us. Here's our address, voterfraud@foxnews.com.